Here's a story from Mediaite. Trump calls on states to deploy National Guard to Texas as state clashes with federal government over border crisis. There's a lot to break down here, but I will jump straight to Trump's statement. His first portion of the statement. When I was president, we had the most secure border in history. Joe Biden has surrendered our border and is aiding and abetting a massive invasion of millions of illegal migrants into the United States. Instead of fighting to protect our country from this onslaught, Biden is unbelievably fighting to tie the hands of Governor Abbott and the state of Texas so that the invasion continues unchecked. In the face of this national security, public safety, and public health catastrophe, Texas has rightly invoked the invasion clause of the Constitution and must be given full support to repel the invasion. Page 2. We encourage all willing states to deploy their guards to Texas to prevent the entry of illegals and to remove them back across the border. All Americans should support the common sense measures by Texas authorities to protect the safety, security, and sovereignty of Texas and of the American people. When I am president on day one, instead of fighting Texas, I will work hand in hand with Governor Abbott and other border states to stop the invasion, seal the border, and rapidly begin the largest domestic deportation operation in history. Those Biden has let in should not get comfortable because they will be going home. Now, the big news here is that we actually have, the number is much bigger than this, but there is a report, 25 states, Republican governors of 25 states have signed a letter backing Texas. Now, the number is actually larger than this by now, but things are changing so rapidly, it's hard to know exactly how many states have already joined in. And needless to say, look, guys, I can't believe this is the headline we're writing. Obviously, everyone's trying to be a little light on how they describe this. Mediaite is just saying Trump calls on states to deploy National Guard as the state clashes with the federal government. But Trump's entire statement is how Joe Biden and the federal government is aiding and abetting illegal immigrants. By calling on the National Guard of willing states to deploy to Texas, he is calling for these states to act in absolute defiance of federal authority at a time when the Biden administration has given a deadline to Texas. Friday is the day. You must back off your guards or else. The question then becomes, or else what?
I have a million thoughts on these, as do you. We were all talking about this off the air. And so the thoughts, I could go on and on about it, but let's be clear. Joe Biden is committing treason, and he didn't just start committing treason. Biden and his administration, when you take over as president and you defy the immigration law, when it's your job as president to execute the law, that is treasonous. They didn't fall, they didn't stumble, they didn't bumble, they didn't fail, they didn't whoopsie. The communists who now run this country got elected and opened up the border on purpose because it is the ultimate win for them that Republicans cannot and will not reverse. You flood the country with illegals, you destroy the country, and that's what they want.
But it's sedition, I would argue, not treason. Treason would be aiding and abetting an enemy, whereas this is just actively trying to destroy the country.
They are enemies. They are our enemies, and our country's being filled by our enemies. Right, Chinese, Russian, many others, they're filling.
But there are some. If an invading force from China marched through Mexico and Biden facilitated their invasion, that's arguably treason. But legally, the question then becomes, are we actively at war with China? Because that's basically what treason is. It's when you side with the enemy. A bunch of random people from a bunch of random countries coming to this country, Biden facilitating that, I would say, is a seditious conspiracy, basically seeking to undermine our system of governance, destroying it from within.
Well, we can split hairs about sedition or treason. It doesn't really matter. He committed a crime. As president of the United States of America, this is a crime that actually should not result in impeachment. It should result in impeachment and Joe Biden spending the rest of his life, whatever that length that may be, in federal prison. And if we were interested in saving this country, Joe Biden and many people in his administration would be going to prison. Sadly, we're more than 3 years into the Biden presidency, and we're just now getting some kind of real effort to bind against this. Now that we're 8 million illegals heavier in the country, that's on top of the 30 million we're already here. But they did this on purpose. That's the thing that people have such a hard time digesting, especially the norms and normas out there. This wasn't an accident. And the media will play that up. They'll even call these people migrants all day long. Now that's the newest thing. We got to make them sound, we got to make them sound like geese going south for the winter when they're not at all. They're illegals. They're all criminals. The men are the criminals. The women are the criminals. The children are criminals behind them, and they should all be thrown out of the country immediately.
The legal term is criminal alien.
Oh, you can call them whatever you want. They're criminals.
The academic term, so this is why you get Nikki Haley saying, "Oh, they're not criminals." Like, no, this is a legal term. I'm not saying that to disrespect anybody. It's a legal term. They are criminal aliens.
Every one of them, and every one of them violated our national sovereignty, and we have so poisoned patriotism in this country that now everyone on the left and half the people on the right somehow think we're supposed to be America's open sewer, and we're not supposed, or the world's open sewer, where you just dump everyone you want. No, we are a sovereign country with a culture. We are a unique people. We're not a melting pot. It's not multiculturalism. We have a unique culture in this country that is wonderful and should be preserved and protected. I'm glad we finally have somebody doing something about it, and I applaud the governors. We'll see if they can actually hold out, but at least someone's doing something.
So we have people asking us to break down sedition versus treason. So I will. Cornell Law School defines, I should say they don't define, they show us the actual U.S. code, 18 U.S. Code 2384, seditious conspiracy. If two or more persons in any state or territory or in any place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States, or by force to seize, take, or possess any property of the United States contrary to the authority thereof, they shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. Treason specifically is whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years. And that's a big gap right there. And fined under this title. So I would argue specifically, the Biden administration is engaged in a seditious conspiracy. They are committing crimes against the country to damage and destroy the fabric of this country in violation of numerous state laws as well as federal laws, whereas treason would be declaring war against adhering to war against the United States. So typically when this has been debated in the past, treason has been typically applied to, if we were like, let's say at the formation of the Marines, the Barbary Pirates. If someone in the United States sided with the pirates, that's treason. You're a traitor. A traitor is siding with the enemy in active conflict. Sedition means Joe Biden and his buddies got together and said, let's engage in a plan that subverts the law and destroys this country by force.
So then it'd be sedition.
Yeah.
I believe it's seditious conspiracy.
Yeah. That's fine with me. Convict him of shoplifting for all I care. Just send him to prison. Whatever, it's fine. Whatever he's doing as president. And look, we all know we're not talking about Joe Biden. We're not talking about the cadaver who's pretending to be president. We're talking about the filthy commies that he surrounds himself with. This is all Susan Rice and Victoria Nunes and all the other Maoists who occupy positions of power. Well, look, Joe Biden's got to go, but they got to go with him. They can all share a cell.
I'm talking about the CBP agents.
Yeah.
I could give a crap about Susan Rice.
The Nazi guards.
The Nazi guards on the border who are engaged in a human smuggling operation with a badge on their chest that says CBP, they're the ones who should be in prison.
Are you serious?
Absolutely 100%.
For following orders and doing their job?
Are we gonna let the Nazi guards go? You think the people who are facilitating one of the largest human smuggling operations this world's ever seen should be just, it's not your fault, it's some other guy's fault for telling you to commit the crime?
No, I think that's ridiculous. I think you're crazy.
You ask a CBP agent to rob a bank and he does, you think he shouldn't go to jail?
The CBP agents are retiring. They're quitting. They're getting out because of all
and
this stuff.
And they should.
And they should. They definitely should.
Great. So
these men are doing good things.
So the guys on video who are smuggling children and engaging in human trafficking, they should go to prison.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah,
those are CBP agents.
100%. That's fine.
Yes,
yeah.
agreed.
If you're going to take the dirty ones, and look, let's be honest. The border, and I have many friends on Border Patrol. Border Patrol agents have always been, I don't want to say susceptible, but they've been in a unique position to be corruptible because of the amount of money that crosses the border, because of the drugs and human smuggling. I mean, I have many close friends in there whose friends are in federal prison now. Why? They were busted taking bribes from the cartel, bribes of money, bribes of women, things like that.
So that's really common, that kind of bribery at the border of border guards?
Oh, they'll send you can, there are places, many places across our southern border. Pick your place. Pick a place in Arizona where the Border Patrol stretch so thin, you'll have a little stretch of border where there's one dude, maybe two dudes, man in the post. Cartel guys run a couple high-end hookers up there for a night. You enjoy yourself. Next thing you know, you turn the other way for 2 hours, and they've got the people across they want to get across. Now, this is not all of them by any stretch of the imagination, but it happens. And yeah, you can send those guys to prison with Biden. But listen, those are also guys. Who is most responsible for the atrocities in history? Yeah, the NKVD sucked. Yeah, it was really bad. Throw them all in prison. They weren't given the orders, right? It was Stalin. When you have evil people in charge giving orders to open up the border, then those are the people who have to be punished the most severe in any society.
But doesn't a man owe something to his own heart and soul? Like, don't you owe to yourself to follow a moral code?
Oh, for sure.
And so if you don't, like, you're evil too. You're evil too if you're standing there at Auschwitz just like letting people in.
There's no question about it, but you're not the height of evil. You're not the one. The problem in the countries are leadership.
You have it totally
you're
backwards.
A monster.
The homeless guy in the alley screaming for people to smuggle humans across the border is nothing. He's meaningless and no one cares, and he would never be charged with anything. You're allowed to stand in an alley and order people to do everything. They won't do it. But if a homeless man in an alley looks to a police officer and says, "You should go in there and rob a bank," and the cop goes, "You got it," who do we arrest? Do we arrest the homeless guy? No, we arrest the guy who robbed the bank.
You know who we never arrest in this country? Politicians. That's who we never arrest. Border Patrol agents get arrested. Dirty cops.
Trump's been arrested a couple times.
Dirty cops get arrested. Politicians never go to prison in this country. FBI agents never go to prison in this country. CIA never goes to prison in this country.
We definitely had. What
about they are now?
What about Marion Barry and all those guys in Chicago?
FBI and CIA aren't politicians.
What I'm saying is people in positions of power in this country never, ever, ever go to prison. In fact, they don't even fear going to prison. We had an FBI agent lie on a document to get a FISA warrant so he could spy on Donald Trump. He didn't even get disbarred. Kevin Kleinsmith didn't even get disbarred. That human being should never see the light of day again, ever.
And politicians
didn't even get disbarred.
And the people who are giving the orders should also go to prison. But the most culpable element of the human smuggling operation are the human smugglers.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Not the human smugglers.
The American president is more responsible for human smuggling than the human smugglers.
The cartel is less responsible for human smuggling than Biden.
Than Joe Biden himself, because Joe Biden is the one inviting them in. Joe Biden is the leader forget about Joe Biden. We're talking about the Biden administration. The United States federal government is the most criminal government in the Western Hemisphere.
All you're arguing is that you like some human smugglers, not others. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.